Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
In the next episode, I contact Dr. Valdivino. In a book, you'll find a little bit about every being, additional information that I've gathered. But according to what I read, the medium in Abidjan seems to believe. See you next time. Found out that this Dr. Valdivino was a criminal judge in his previous life. Let's see if we can find some information on that. So let's get started. It's a great pleasure for me. And next, honor the entity known as Dr. Valdi as now, showing the people. Dr. Valdivino, your energy feels incredibly soft, and to be honest, it's bringing tears to my eyes. Why is that?
Energy that I am feels like love to you. I love very much. It allows me to better understand people in their despair. A perception I've already experienced in my life.
But Dr. Valdivino, I have read that you were a judge. Is that correct?
For a while, but not for long. I couldn't uphold the rules of politics and justice for long. In many cases back then, I had to decide differently than I felt.
Wow, then let's dive into your story. Start wherever you want and just tell.
As a child, I traveled to different countries because my parents had to maintain political connections. I was always with you. The lonely times when they had gone away again and I couldn't go with them were my favorites.
So you like being alone, right?
That can't be said like that. I liked being undisturbed and at peace, not traveling. But I had to travel a lot.
And what happened next in your life?
My parents always said I should become a judge. But I never wanted to. It was a time that needed judges. Did you have a special sense for subtlety? Or do you remember anything like that? No. Did you feel an ever-growing divergence between the rules of the human wide world and your intuition?
Direct accordingly.
Yes, the rules were all too rigid for me and not focused on the connection between people. We judge people as we do livestock at the cattle market. And then what happened? What did you do? I could no longer live with that kind of judgment and needed a new shape. Therefore, I began to dissolve the connection in these areas and set off for freedom.
Where did you go?
The first stop was a church.
What did you find out there?
There, I started to pray for guidance, to show me the way to free my soul. In this process, the Virgin Mary appeared to me and told me what I need to do.
How did you perceive it?
I heard them.
And how did you know she was the one?
A voice inside me told me it's her.
Have you then heard them repeatedly throughout your life?
Rarely.
But what exactly did she tell you back then?
That I should embark on a journey to the power sites of Mary around the world. Because of that, I'll meet the people and experience the healing I'm looking for. I did that and began my journey around the world.
Exciting, that's great. Was there an experience that touched you deeply?
This experience was very moving.
So you've traveled a lot. What happened next in your life?
I have traveled far to find the answers within myself, and I found them.
Would you like to tell me about what the answers were?
Sure.
Please share your insights with me.
The first realization I had was that I'm not alone. Even when I was alone, it made all the traveling easier for me.
And how did you come to this realization?
I understood that the worlds coexist and that we are all interconnected. During a meditation, I had the vision that I am part of the energy known as Mary.
And how did you understand that in meditation?
I understood how her energy operates in the world. It's the energy of femininity. And I began to feel this power.
And did you perceive any other energies or just Maria's?
That was not important to me.
What was your next insight?
The next realization was that I am still contaminated, and the cleansing within me should start soon.
How did you recognize that?
A vision where I perceived the soul as energy that was tainted.
Can you give me a short example of how this contamination ultimately showed itself to you?
Others, the soul had no color, but I perceived its energy as blue. And in this blue, there were dark spots again. I wanted to eliminate these.
Did you find out how that works?
No, that was the task.
What did you do then to cleanse yourself?
The beginning of saying goodbye to worldly views was the first step in letting go. Then I had to pray a lot. And in doing so, I asked for forgiveness a lot and forgave a lot. These two energies are very healing.
Was there a rhythm to it? Like how often did you do it?
I tried to maintain a constant state of this praying posture, but I couldn't always do it. Yet it was enough to purify me.
What was your third realization?
The third insight was that I will endure for a long time and not be gone after death.
And how did you come to this insight?
I had a vision where I saw the soul as part of a journey, where life is just a kind of cocoon, like with a butterfly. This perception conveyed to me the transformation of energies that we live here at every moment.
And what was the fourth insight?
The next realization was that I can try to heal with love. For whenever I met people with love, their direction shifted, especially with angry energies. Then I could use the love within me to transform this energy into something gentle and warm-hearted. The people who experienced this were often very moved and cried.
Was there another insight?
The fifth realization was to give love without expectation. You give because you want to give, not because you expect something in return.
And how did you come to this insight?
I needed something to understand that this power never fades. But I recognized it and then lived it.
And what was the next realization?
That was the insight that I can bring change to certain areas in a short period of time, but not where change is unwelcome. Free will stands above all processes. These were my insights, and I live by them to this day, now in my new form.
Were there experiences in your life that aside from your encounter with Maria, also deeply moved you.
Yes, many indeed. I have never experienced people as neutral encounters, but always as a meeting with a brother or a sister. This feeling was helpful for me to move further away from the feeling of loneliness. The human family is large when you notice it.
But Dr. Valdivino, people are not always just nice, and it hurts even more when a family member hurts.
Soon I realized the problems of people and gave them advice on how to solve them. Enemies became friends through this.
And people just accepted that?
Back then, it was like that. Yes, I got to experience it.
Did you have a wife?
Yes. But I had to leave them too when I wanted to go into freedom. But I was always connected to it. I know that. And I know its energy didn't suffer too much.
Did you have kids?
No, it died when it was born.
How did you deal with it?
I was very sad. But I didn't want to lose the connection I was already starting to feel. So I tried not to let the sadness affect me too much.
And then you set off.
Yes, that's the right term, Sylvia.
And what happened next?
Now the soul was ready to make the transition by leaving the body one night. I was old and tired of traveling, and I wanted to live without suffering. So I began to detach myself from the connection with the body.
Were you alone in
Yes.
that? And then?
This transition was very interesting, for I sensed the energy of the beings of the master plane, and I wasn't quite sure who that was, but I tried to make contact with them.
And when you left the body, so to speak, was there a kind of intermediate state?
Yes, the perception was initially a bit hazy, but in a relatively short perceived time, I noticed these beings beyond the fog.
How do you perceive them?
The energy of the beings was very powerful and bright. I felt very comfortable feeling that energy there. Then I started to realize that I had passed away.
Could you communicate with those beings right away?
Yes, it took a moment. But I understood them shortly thereafter. Understanding is different though, as it starts with a feeling.
And how did it come about that you, Apagenia, and the medium?
This is a perception among the masters that one can start to live by if one wants to help. I wanted to help. Love, and since I didn't want to stay in the subtle realms, but didn't want to reincarnate either, I found purpose in this task. Then I introduced myself to the medium by bringing my presence close to him. The medium sensed it and allowed me to enter. I like doing that because it allows me to reconnect with people and be in the love that I truly feel.
Then let's go now to the place in Brazil, to Abadiania, so to speak. When you're in the medium, how do you perceive the people?
I recognize their sadness and their pains, and I can communicate to them how they can overcome these.
About the medium, yes. But would you like to leave a message here now for the people who are listening?
Very gladly. I sense them getting lost in sadness and helplessness. But I want to tell you all that you are never alone. Never. Strength is crucial to stay connected. So please try in your life to go into moments that give strength and not empowering.
What do people most often do wrong on their path to healing from your perspective?
People don't trust enough.
Yes, but often it's the case that in our world, trust is only built through some kind of formal procedure and does not generally exist. Yet you keep emphasizing the importance of freeing oneself from these narrow forms. So that's contradictory. People feel trust through form, you say, but in formlessness there is the most trust. How does that fit together?
You need to make a distinction between trust in the form and trusting in the cosmos.
Exactly. What do you think of the institution church?
I think highly of this format, but I am confused how they abused this opportunity to free people and caused the very opposite. I'd love to start a new church if I could, but I can't, and I don't want to come back for that.
But people need faith and religion. You heard what I just said. They need the structures. So what do we advise them?
I would recommend engaging with these formats, sharpening one's own perception to overcome boundaries whenever they exist, and not to accept as a boundary, because love is boundless.
Where does this doctor prefix actually come from?
Oh, that's what the humans gave me.
Are you happy now, Dr. Valdivino?
Yes, that's me.
When did you first notice dominatio?
That was in the master's plane. There, he quickly became a friend to me, as I really liked his way of sharing perception. And we communicate a lot with each other. This communication is a big help to stay confident.
Why precisely in optimism?
Because people are losing the connection. They believe that praying and confessing will set them free. But I urge people that praying and don't just pull the keys to purification on the right, not just being, but cleansing what happens within us. Only those who truly want to heal and cleanse will be clean. Only those who truly pray are heard, not those who merely recite the words. You believe shapes determine your life, not the content of your soul. Sometimes that's very sad for me. It feels like masks from an old time that you wear instead of connecting to yourself.
Oh, Dr. Valdivino, please don't be sad. Look, even this work, this podcast and the book that goes with it, it's further steps filling these empty forms with more awareness and guiding people.
Your words help me a lot. Because sometimes I believe our work here is not truly understood.
Oh, come on, let's start right there. When you realize empty shells fill them, lead, what would you like to give them to change that?
It's wonderful that you let me answer these questions. People should come here in an awareness that we are here the chance for their soul, to enable the transformation in them in an indescribable way. It is happening. Silence is an important key here. These group tours where they often show up, they're no good.
Well, I too was grateful when I could travel in a group for the first time. What would you like to say? I mean, it was important and good for me to learn about a group,
Yes,
the place,
I
and everything here.
understand. People should hear and internalize these words in their deep knowledge of the connections. then they should travel alone if possible. People in need should, of course, seek help. But overall, it's more important for people to become calmer. Communicating with each other is just a distraction. Silence is the guide. And here, silence is the gateway to the soul. The loud words in the hall to entertain the people are not helpful. I only support the prayers, but I do not support the talk of those people entertaining there. People should focus more on themselves and seek silence, to then be ready to step in front of the medium and enter the energy of the entities. Preparations are already underway in the hall. And if these preparations are not carried out in silence, it's like a lost journey when they appear before the medium. People need love.
And what can we tell them about where to find these?
They find love within themselves. Love just needs peace within us. Then it grows more and more. The distractions of your world and the thoughts of humanity in fear and dread will diminish love. Therefore, it's important that you rest and connected with the energies, feels, and not connected with the particularly attention-grabbing tool world of your time. Your soul's tool is silence.
But Dr. Valdivino, some people are afraid to look into this silence because they fear being alone.
Yes, I understand that. But that's just a phase that everyone goes through before entering the next phase.
Are you actually funny or rather sad, like in terms of your basic energy?
I am a very sad being because I can feel the sorrow and pain of people.
Did I have to cry at the start of our session?
Yes. But you had to cry because you feel the love within me. You can't separate that.
Is there a place you would recommend to people where they can find this important silence?
This isn't tied to any one place.
Would you like to recommend a place in Brazil and Abidjania?
This place is a permanent call to embrace silence. Therefore, I cannot name just one place.
A little addition from me, I also believe that silence can be found everywhere, if one just names it, if one decides to. Do you have anything else to say, dear Dr. Valdivino?
I've already shared much about how I perceive things. But I'm happy to tell you more about the way I communicate. I perceive the sorrow in people as disconnected energy. This energy acts like armor. This armor needs love energy to dissolve. And that happens bit by bit. Therefore, I can only urge everyone to embrace the energy of love and open themselves to it, to solve these tanks.
How many people of those who come before you when you're incorporated into the medium, do they want healing? And how many just want attention?
This question is very important. I can tell you that most people just want attention when they are ill. Because these illnesses, these bring your attention.
Incredible. And to these people, we say that they shouldn't look for love in that way, but within themselves.
Yes, exactly. The attention they are trying to get this way is not the attention we call love energy. It's a pollution of the perception of the matter, and that greatly confuses the soul seeking help, for it seeks transformation. Yet people seek attention. You call it ego. When people realize that love is within them and cannot be affected from the outside, then they start the journey towards their true purpose and happiness as part of love. This experience is revealed only when people place love above the attention of the ego. The feeling of happiness, therefore, cannot be found externally, but is exclusively a product of experiencing love within you.
Yes, can you tell me whether there are more people or the same number who think this way?
For many years, this fact has not changed. There are always the same number of people seeking attention, and just as few looking for real
But
healing.
the issue is that many people truly believe they are seeking healing and not even know that they are just seeking attention through this disease. How can we convey to them where they perceive something incorrectly?
It's easy to recognize. To get attention, you need to communicate a lot with people about this illness. People who communicate little here but listen in silence are those seeking healing.
True. Another question about the surgeries. What exactly happens when you use this device, this forceps somewhere, how it shapes humans?
The energy we expend when this happens is like an injection into the soul.
Oh.
We channel the strength we possess into the body and beyond into the soul. It's because we need to take advantage of the opening. You already know that people need to be open to receive the energy.
Yes, I know, but then why don't you go through the mouth?
That's not possible because the swallowing organs are there, which would block it. Therefore, we need an opening that is large enough to have the deep impact and yet not be blocked.
And with the ears, the channel is too small, right? Isn't it also dangerous that you could injure people there?
No. This movement is placed only so deep into the body that the power reaches the soul. Yet the body doesn't suffer harm from it. It's like a needle that only scratches the surface. Yet it still reaches the surface. You can think of it as an accelerating energy that is channeled into the layers of the human being with this tool. That's the peculiarity of this type. It's very rough. The people who receive this type of treatment are very withdrawn.
Understand. Can one say then that this energy transfer can happen not only through a touch but also requires such powerful work?
Yes and no. The question is not the perception of the power we give, but the openness of the people. This form of operation is the method for people who are often very doubtful within themselves.
And the white spheres. By the way, there's an incredible amount of information in the other seasons of this podcast. I do not want to delve into that right now. Please just flip forward a bit. So these white ones, balls, are certainly all on site and vigilant to prevent any damage to the body, right?
Correct.
I once witnessed someone bleed heavily during such a procedure, whereas otherwise blood has almost never been shed. What exactly happened then?
Then the blockages inside him were so severe that we had to proceed very aggressively, as otherwise it would have had no effect.
Wow.
The crust of connection was so thick, there was no other way. Blood is a sign of the flow that then began to flow again. We observe such things very closely. Don't worry.
So am I understanding this correctly, that the force is essentially the same, depending on what one can handle in their soul strength? But this kind of surgery is precisely for those who doubt the most or are the most encrusted by doubt. Exactly. And what's the quality like? The surgeries in the eye.
We're also working on an opening into the soul. There, it's the gentler version. We don't have to force power into the soul so roughly. The blockades aren't as big there.
Very revealing. I thank you, dear Dr. Valdivino, for this great, detailed conversation.
I'm really happy that you're spreading these messages to the world. It's important and very necessary. And it makes me less sad. I'm starting to hope more and more. Thank you, love.